What is going on YouTube? This is your boy Kamen Zero Spike back again once again, and today we're here for Kamen Geats episode 30. Now man, this episode is the basically kind of stole the show from Nago at the end when we circle all the way back to Geats and find out some more about how the goddess of creation was actually created, but we'll get to that in a second. So in this episode we see that Nago is now basically finding out, and basically finding out that she is not her her parents' real daughter. She is just a fabrication of the goddess of creation due to her father wishing that he could bring his daughter back, and also erasing the memories of everyone that knew what happened that day, including her mom, and he was the only one that still remembered, seeing that he was bringing flowers to Akira's bringing flowers to Akira's basically where she was deleted, basically where she was killed back at that old building. And now we see that now Nago has gone down this very deep dark path. She actually goes back home and talks to her mom, and her mom she asks her mom, am I really your daughter? And she's like, of course you are, what are you talking about? And she brings her back her ID. She brings back her ID core, which she lets her mom touch, and when her mom touches the ID core, she gets all the memories back from the original incident. And her mom's reaction was very messed up. We see that she said that it's true, Akira was my true daughter, and she screams at Nago and says, who are you? And that's when Nago is like, I wish all of this was a lie, but she ends up leaving. She leaves, and her mom does try to stop her, but she says, like, I'm not running away, this isn't my house, this isn't my home anyway. So Nago leaves. We see that Kyun goes and talks to her father, saying that, were you just gonna take this to your grave and all this other stuff? And then we actually see a flashback of her father talking with Niram. He basically says that, hey, we could bring her back to life, but most likely this is all just his like little business venture to further his conglomerate company. And he says, I can bring her back to life and stuff like that. And he's like, nah, because then I have to deal with her first death and all this other stuff. Like, nah, I don't want to bring her back to life. He said, oh well, we could bring her back to life, and we can just erase your memories too, and y'all wouldn't even know the difference. So he's like, nah, if you brought her back, then like, nah, how about we just bring her back, erase everyone else's memories, so the only person that knows is me, and then that way I could use her to further the company and stuff like that. And it's just really messed up. I'm like, oh my god. So Kyun was like, why did you Kyun was like, talked to her father saying that, oh, were you just gonna take this to your grave? And he was like no. He was like yeah. And do you want her to be happy? Kyun was like, obviously. And he basically says that, all right, then we'll just marry her, and then that could further my company and all this other stuff. And then he smiles about it, and Kyun was like, man, you don't deserve nothing. So Kyun leaves. We see that even Buffer kind of feels kind of effed up about this, but he don't care. So we see that Geats does and go and talks to Kyun, and he says that, what are you doing? Aren't you her supporter and things like that? Like, and Kyun's like, I don't know what to say to her. My own feelings and stuff are a mess, and I don't even know what to say to her, stuff like that. He said, well, and Geats is like, well, if you're not gonna do anything, then just go back to your own era. She's her own person and stuff like that. So Kyun, he leaves Kyun there. Geats goes and tries to find Neon. Neon, she ends up getting it's time for her fight. She's supposed to fight Buffer. And she ends up getting captured by the big fish. Yeah, the big fish, Jamato. This thing can summon like a giant demon fish thing to come and just grab people. So Geese tries to go get her, but he sees her getting kidnapped, and he brings her back to the arena area. brings her back to the arena area, and she ends up having to fight. We see it. She ends up having to fight the fish Jamato, and she's basically getting her butt kicked. She even out of suit, he's hitting her, and she transforms, and she transforms and she starts fighting him again. That's when Geats shows up, and Geats tries to go in there and help her, but that's when Buffer intercepts him and says that, hey, you can't go in there. Only audience members can get through and stuff like that. You can't come in. And he basically tells Buffer that, hey, you and he said you and Betuba are basically like two peas in a pod. He's like, no. He's like, I'm not like her. None of this even would. I'm not like her. None of this would have been happening if the DGP didn't exist. And he said, like, the only thing I want to do, I want to destroy the writers and in the DGP, and I want to destroy the DGP itself as a whole. And we see how Buffer like does not agree with the stuff. He doesn't agree or like the things that Betuba is actually doing. So he's like, so he's like her ideological, wishes that she wants, that she comes up with, just bring people misery. So we see that Buffer is like, I'm sort of glad that Buffer doesn't agree with the stuff that Betuba is even doing, or he's just using her and stuff like that. But we get to a point where after we see that Geats ends up having to fight. Well, we see Kyun run past Geats, and as he goes in there to help Nago, while he's helping her, we see that Geats is outside of the arena area fighting a bunch of like grunt Jamato that are trying to stop Kyun from going in. So we see that Geats is out there fighting a bunch of fighting these grunt Jamato, and that's when Kyun comes in to help Nago, and he says like he says like some heartfelt stuff that the stuff that he wrote down, but he reads it in front of her because those are his real feelings. Like, he's only able to say nice things in written form, which is weird, but that's a lot of guys these days. But but after that, we see that the fish Jamato gets ready to, well, he actually traps the fish Jamato in like a barrier. And that's when he hinges up, and the fish Yamato breaks out of the barrier. He hinges. We see that Kyun hinges up to his big manticore. He's a manticore that's like a lion with wings. He hinges up, and it kind of looks a little bit better. Like the CGI of him actually looked a little bit better now that we have like a better a better view of him, because now it's just really him. Because last time it was him, Kekera, and Jin. So he actually, he looks pretty cool. He's a big winged lion thing. It's kind of funny. We got a cat and a lion though teaming up on a fish. Everybody else put that together, like they get ready to eat this fish. I wouldn't eat this fish. It's fucking freaking disgusting. But so he ends up giving her the boost knuckle. And she hinges up, and she uses beat, and she hinges up. This fight's very freaking cool. The freaking cinematics in this fight look dope, while at the same time we see Geats out there looking dope fighting these freaking Jamatos. They ended up defeating the Jamato, but Nago passes out at the end. So basically, it was a draw technically. Yeah, it was a draw technically, because the fish Jamato isn't destroyed. He's not dead. We see that all they did was just like impale him. Like they knocked off an arm. They knocked off one of his arms, and they like pierced they put like a big hole in his side and his stomach. So it's still alive. So we haven't seen the last of this Jamato, but Betuba is all pissed off that they lost and things like that, but it's basically a draw now. Keiwa is still stuck in the prison and stuff like that, and didn't really do much. Like he couldn't do anything. And we see that Daiji's basically his guard sitting there talking ish to him. And also Sumidi and Cherim, they're also spectating this, but Cherim also knew about Nago's like past and stuff like that, considering the fact that he is part of the DGP, and he was a game master, and each game master knows all the stuff, considering the fact that these vision drivers basically get passed around to each other. And you see that Sumidi isn't feeling this. She's not really agreeing with what's going on right now. And we see that Cherim is like, hey, you can't avert your eyes. You can't stop looking at this, because it's your job to be the guide and stuff like that to these players and things like that. So Sumidi is also like, the one day I'm thinking that maybe everybody will most likely end up betraying the DGP. So after that, we see Buffa is like he's speaking with Betaba, and he tells Betaba and Daiji, he tells Betaba is I'm not working with you anymore, we're through. And she goes up to him and says, hey, real quick, she's like, aren't you curious about Geats' weaknesses? And he's like, what? So she ends up using the vision driver, and it turns out the vision driver can actually see the memories and events of past things that have happened in the DGP. Considering the vision driver eyes is able to see stuff, able to see is able to show past memories and events in DGP. We see that we see the creation of the goddess of creation, and we see that all these masked men have captured Mitsume, Geats' mother, and have turned and end up transforming her into that statue. And now they end up using her powers to do all the stuff inside of their DGP and all these masked men. We see that one of these dudes has to be Niram. I think, yeah, one of them has to be Niram, and maybe and there's like 6 of them. So maybe Niram. One of them might be Chiram. One of them also might be God, I forgot Glaire's name. Well, the guy who's come out of Glare. He also must have been one of them as well. So that basically, I guess that was the creation of the DGP entirely. And these guys definitely must come from we all know they come from the future, but might come from a bad future or whatever. So, but yeah, so now that Buffa, Daichi, and Betaba have seen this memory, and in the next episode, we're going to see that Geats finds out that his mother is the goddess of creation. Whew. But that's why I say it kind of stole the show from Nago, because this was a Nago-centric episode, and then now she's basically gone, and she feels like she basically has nowhere to go now, considering the fact that she's not really a person. She is a person, but like she's a fabricated person. And I wonder, is she gonna stay at the DGP place? Is she gonna stay with Kyun? Things like that. So I don't know. I wouldn't go home after finding out all this stuff. I wouldn't go anywhere. But yeah, so with the whole, most likely as we get closer and closer to the end, most likely everyone is gonna be leave the DGP, basically betray the DGP. Most likely Sumidi, it might end up betraying the DGP because she doesn't like these methods and how also to making people miserable. Geats, of course he is, because the DGP actually created, actually has captured his mother and made her do all these things. Nago, most likely, because Nago, and probably to fight against her father or something like that. Keiwa, most likely, because Keiwa, the DGP most likely is the reason, probably fabricated, and the reason why his parents are dead. Buffa, of course. He has betrayed the DGP, but most likely the main end goal, the last boss or whatever of the DGP, most likely will be the DGP itself, after we take care of the JGP, which is all these freaking Yamato. But I don't know, maybe Betaba might even jump in on this as well. Maybe Jin comes back, stuff like that. I'm talking about stuff that's way long away, but a lot of people have a reason why to hate the DGP and not F with them. But next episode most likely will be like a KY centric episode. I don't think Nago doesn't seem to be anywhere in it. Maybe she's gonna be in it, but she's probably gonna be staying with Kyun or something like that. But yeah, this episode, man, was pretty dope. Fighting wise, very, 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 very anime. But it was super freaking dope though. I did like seeing Nago kick some butt with her lion boyfriend. Maybe one day, we don't know. But anyway, you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think of episode 30 of Kamen Rider Geats. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and remember, stay henshined.